Ladies and gentlemen, I was once again interrupted, and I don't know what to say. I had a train of thought before, and I went through some of the notes, and I was moving right along. And what happened is apparently Google is not aware that there's a woodchuck in the wood pile, and they keep allowing this glitch in their system to destroy not just my live stream, conversations that I was having on Skype this morning and conversations that I was having on Skype last night. And my only ability to get an actual Skype conversation going is when my YouTube is pretty much in idle. If I was loading a video and I turn on Skype, the internet dies. So we're going to try this one more time. We're going to talk about the Church of Christians Plus. It's a half-built church on a property adjacent to mine. And due to the fact that it may be several months before this problem, this global problem, is solved, I don't know if the property came up for sale specifically for that reason, but it's up for sale. So it's not a bad. It's about 240 square meters, and it is in fact listed for $100,000 US or thereabouts. They haven't really determined, but that's the round figure. So Big E will be the presiding Reverend over the Christians Plus congregation. And Chie will preside over the singles meetings of the flock. So when the flock gathers and there happen to be singles, whether or not they are in the Philippines or in America, because not able to get to the Philippines, there'll be online services for the flock to associate themselves and get better acquainted with Reverend Big E from Cebu and Chie from Subic Bay. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you. The second thing I wanted to share with you is the update on the computer, because I'm trying. I'm going to show you the windows that I have open at the top just from this morning to get this computer. So one is an Asus ZenBook Duo. All right, I'll click on that. And then I'll click the next link. There are different links. This one is for Newegg. And I'm going to give you nothing but positive feedback about Newegg sales. See, it says newegg.com. They're the best company in America and the best priced company in America with the best warranty. I would say that they're on par with Dell, but they don't build computers. Well, they may put them together now, but they used to just be an electronic gadget store. But Newegg has their 100% warranty and returns, that they don't ask questions, they just do it. Dell will put a technician on the phone with you and do excellent screen sharing service work, or tell you that your computer needs to be put in a box, and they'll have a box within 48 hours to your house. So Newegg and Dell would be the two I would recommend. So this ZenBook came down in price to 145,000 pesos. However, there's a problem. And I didn't realize what this problem was until I called up Newegg, chatted with them. And I'll show you the chat. I have it in my notes down here at the bottom down here. I have it. Let me see if I can find it. I have the entire chat. All right, so here is the chat from Newegg support on 4/1/2020. And I'll go through that chat. As soon as I go through the amount of tabs it took me to get to that chat. So just to give you an idea, the reason I'm doing this is because to show you how complicated it is to purchase a computer. All right, so that's one Newegg site that I left open. Now what you do here is you copy down this item number at the top here. Then there's an additional window to contact these people. When you add this to your cart, a window will open up to talk to a representative. And then a chat window will open up and you can have a chat with a real person in real time. It took less than 1 minute to get the chat window representative online, and he replied typically to my questions. Within like 15 or 20 seconds, he was typing an answer. One man's name was Dan, another man's name was Tavo. So let's go to that chat. So I'll show you what I did. Well, okay, let's go back to the windows. Okay, so that was, no, let's go to the chat. Okay, so Newegg support chat on 4/1/2020. By the way, Newegg is a U.S. company and a damn good one to do business with. That's my opinion, but I've never had any bad dealings with Newegg. So Tavo G says, hello, Michael. Thank you for contacting Newegg with your inquiry. I'd be happy to check on that for you. Give me a moment to pull the information up. So I had asked him for specific information and he was checking. Okay, so I had told him, because the last chat conversation, my internet was lost, and that was with Dan. So to get this computer shipped to the Philippines, Tavo says, I see there are 2 shipping methods available for Asus laptop. One is for 3 to 5 business days. One is for 2 to 3 business days. Okay, so the 3 to 5 business days is 3,500 pesos. It's in another email. I'm not going to open up my email page. But a 2 to 3 business day is 3,750 pesos, only $5 more. Those are the prices. Now, I don't know if it really is 3 to 5 or 2 to 3, but it's basically what they want is $70 US for shipping. Okay, so that part was okay. So I asked him, do I have to use a U.S. credit card or can I use a Philippines bank account when I'm ready to order? So first he said, I believe you can use both. If you are shipping to the Philippines, I don't know what this means. I think he started on a train of thought and then realized I'm in the Philippines. So first he said, I believe you can use both. If you are shipping to the Philippines, comma, it would have to be a form of payment from your country. I don't know what that means. My country is the United States, but I live in the Philippines, so that's theoretically my country. So that answer wasn't real precise, but it doesn't matter because the next part of the conversation, you will see that they can't ship it to the Philippines. Well, they can. So this is a note that I made. And I did delete 2 comments from here because it had personal information in it. So he explained to me, it will ship to the Philippines, not a problem. 3 to 5 business days, not a problem. So when I asked him if it breaks, is there a repair or service center in the Philippines? And Tavo G said, no, there is not, sir. You'll have to ship it back to America. And then at which point I explained to him that you can't ship anything with a battery from the Philippines to America. So even when I tried to ship my GoPro camera back, I had to take the battery out. There's no way, well, I guess I could have bundled it in a box, inside a box, inside a box, but I just wanted it to get to where it was going. So you can't ship anything from the Philippines, a GoPro camera, for instance, or if there's a certain kind of battery. I don't remember if it was lithium-based battery or whatever kind of battery is in GoPro, you're not allowed to ship it through the mail. However, if that battery is inside a computer, you could ship the computer, but you have to remove the battery and you can ship the battery. So you would be basically sending them back a computer for warranty or replacement without a battery, which voids out the warranty. So you can't buy a computer from Newegg from America and have it shipped here, because if it breaks, you have to ship it back to America for the warranty service or warranty work. Now, of course, you could buy it from America and have the warranty work done here and just pay for it out of pocket. You could do that. So when I asked Tavo, which was another question that I removed from the chat, when I asked him a more specific question as to how did I exactly do? I said, so is there an import fee to the Philippines on the computer? So basically his answer was, in order for me to find out what the import fee would be, I would have to fill out the purchase order, at which point, upon checkout, after I gave them my credit card information and point of destination, that would be when they would tell me the exact import fee, if there was one. But he couldn't check on his computer how much the import fee would be. I don't know why, but it wasn't possible. But anything that you deal with Newegg in America is just, I got to just say, it's a really good company to do business with. So if I couldn't ship something back with a battery, they wouldn't fix it and they wouldn't warranty it for a new replacement because they don't care. Tavo did find out that they will not accept the computer without a battery for a replacement, or even accept it without a working battery or a battery to fix it. So purchasing something from Newegg would be problematic. So now I'm back to searching for the unit in the Philippines. So let's go to the windows I opened up to do that. So the first window is to purchase an Asus Pro Duo from this company. And the one that matches in price, to purchase it from this company, price.com. The price went up to 192,000 pesos from 147. So basically, it went up, that would be $500. 192,000 pesos. No, excuse me, it went up. All right, 147. It went up $1,000. It went up $1,000. So I think I'm gonna have to go to the next model down over here, because it's not $3,000 at 147 anymore. At this price here, it's 145, and then at this price here, it's 192. However, shipping is free, so they're going to ship 3 kilos of weight to you for free. A very good deal. So we're going to go. We went to another website, and that same computer from a different website was. This is the lesser model. It's the Pro Duo, but it's the smaller capacity, it's the i7, not the i9, and it's still 1 terabyte. So that it's just a little bit of a difference with the screen. So probably I will go with this one, except that when I went to shop for this morning, it's out of stock, but it may come back into stock. So this is just some of the things I did to get the computer. I did not stop. But this company, I did not go through the actual payment for because I want to talk to them. And when I did this, when I did the research on this morning, their company doesn't open up till 9 o'clock, and I was doing this at 6:30 this morning. So I'm going to get back to my live stream now. Yes, Pedro. I'm well aware of that lithium battery problem. And I think those are the ones that they put in the radio controlled cars. One lonely farmer, when I went to his house in Pennsylvania, he has a son named Joe, the big guy, and he had radio controlled cars and trucks and helicopters and things like that. And he explained, good morning, Ed Lippett. Welcome to the machine, Pedro and Ed Lippett and Mike L. Hello. So welcome. Thanks for stopping by, gentlemen. So Joe from One Lonely Farmer, Wes's son, he had a battery, and he explained that you're not supposed to keep those batteries, which are about as big as a brick, some of them, like half the size of a red brick, like 4 inches by 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. He explained that one of those little batteries, if you overcharge it or charge it incorrectly, or it's problematic. So they don't want any batteries in the mail. So I understand that because I went through it with GoPro. There's no sense even talking to them about it because I know that even the little tiny battery from GoPro, which is not even as big as a Zippo lighter, they won't allow that in the mail. It's ridiculous, but they won't. You could put it in an iron box, and they don't allow lithium batteries in the mail. They have a lot of rules here. So I'll just, when I'm done with this live stream, and if this live stream cuts off one more time, that would make 3 that I started today. 2 conversations in Skype were cut short this morning. Expat Pepper, I don't know why you would recommend that I have to get, what is that, Lonely Jack or something like that, or Magic Jack. I have Skype. Oh, I think I know why, but I don't want Magic Jack. I tried Magic Jack in America. By the time I was done with Magic Jack, I'll never even say the word Magic Jack with anything good behind it. It's a piece of garbage. Maybe it works for you, but it never worked for me. And I tried it, and I bought the top line Magic Jack, and I bought the additional voltage and the bigger thing, and the best Magic Jack it was like only $39, and never did work. Never got it to make one phone call. So, Expat Prepper, thanks for giving me that information, but I wouldn't use Magic Jack for the price that I pay to call America. You have WhatsApp now, it's free. Yeah, John, it is. It's terrible. It's freaking terrible. I tried to call. The only time I can make a call on Skype is like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I get up anyway. Okay. Yeah, I could give you a call after this live stream. It's not going to be real long because I just have to give you the prices and the way that the Church of Christians Plus is going to be run. So I'm going to go through my notes now. We're going to stop talking about We're going to stop talking about the problems with ordering the computer, because right now I can't worry about ordering a computer. I have my flock to console. And I want to make sure that everybody that's going to become a member of Christians Plus knows the proper procedure and the costs, because there will be service fees for the services rendered. Before I go there, I will tell you that Warren H. is back in the ICU and no contact now in 5 days. So that will be one thing that we will be focusing on in the Church of Christians Plus. We will be doing prayer meetings specifically generated towards Warren H. So even if you're not a member of the church, on Sundays, before we hold the ceremony, the actual ceremony itself, Sundays there will be prayer meetings for people in need, like Warren H. or some of the locals. So the first thing, talking about needs, is the church needs $100,000 US to buy the property itself. And that shouldn't be problematic. The next thing will be, once the church is built. Half the church is already built. Once the church is built, there'll be meetings 3 times a week where the flock can gather and talk about all things Philippines. Now, our motto will be over the door: remember, God loves you. So whether you're in, that would be on the top of the door. And then right immediately underneath that, remember what God always tries to put into your hearts, especially in the Philippines: it is better to give than receive. So that's our motto. We will direct that towards you. So you will be the givers and we will be the receivers. As they say in the Philippines, give from your heart. So you will be always remembered in God's eyes if you follow God's law of it is better to give than to receive. Then immediately under that, all people are welcome, whether you are an overachiever or an underachiever, a Filipino, an American, or any other nationality. You are always welcome to the Church of Christians Plus, and that's why we put the plus at the end of Christians. However, there are benefits to being a member of Christians Plus. One of the biggest benefits of being a member of Christians Plus is that Christians, and I know that you think I'm kidding about this, but I'm not. You can look this up. Once I asked my boss, who was a Christian, who wasn't a very good Christian, but he was a Christian, what is the difference? Because this man, he was an amazing man. If I went out to buy lunch for the family, I would have to eat my lunch in the car on the way back from wherever I went to buy lunch. Because by the time you got back from Burger King, or we had a Burger King, we had a Wendy's, we had a McDonald's, and we also had another one. I forgot the name of it, a fish and chips place. But if by the time you got back, the food is a little bit cold, but then you put the food on my boss's table where we all ate, and they would start praying. They would start praying. We're not going to have much of that. There won't be a lot of long prayers. They're going to be really quick, even if we could do some sign language like that and make the prayers as quick as possible. The most important thing that you have to remember for the Church of Christ is better to give than to receive. And that's you giving and us receiving. But my boss was Christian. His wife, Sheila, was Christian. Their sons were Christian. And their daughter was Christian. So we would all gather around in the shop when I worked at a marine service, breaking down marine engines, and we'd put the food on the bench, and one of them would start praying, and then another one would start praying, and then the other one would add to the prayer. And then the father would say, do you have anything to add to the other son? and the other son, and they all said something, prayer to God. By that time, the food was cold. Even if it was the Florida Keys, the food was ambient air temperature. Ambient air temperature. It was cold. So I used to eat my food on the way home and tell them I wasn't hungry. It was an amazing thing. So anyway, I asked Chris one day, because Chris was, he was on the lighter side of darkness, let's say, the lighter side of darkness. So in other words, on any given day, if Chris didn't pray for forgiveness and he died, he'd go straight to hell. That's how bad this guy was. This guy was an amazing, he would take a brand new Yamaha 240 horse. He would take a brand new Yamaha 240 horse engine or 200 horse engine into the shop, and then the engine would come in for a top main bearing repair. So that's a $90 bearing, because a lot of times the reason that the top main bearing goes out and not the main bearing on the journal on the bottom is because moisture or the atomization of the gasoline has a tendency to follow gravity. So the bottom bearing is lubricated better than the top bearing. So basically, the top main bearing on the Yamahas had a problem with the top main bearing on the crankcase journal. So one day he brought in my friend's engine, a personal friend of mine from the lodge, and hold on a second. From the lodge, I don't know why we're having trouble here. I don't know what happened to the screen. Oh boy. Let's shut that window down and let's go to this window. Let's see if we can get this window open. Why is this guy saying? This guy's sending me food messages about food. Why would I care about food in Cebu? Okay, so I just don't understand what he's having lunch in Cebu. So he sends me a picture of the buffet. It's a guy I met, to digress, it's a guy I met about 3 years ago. He's building a hotel at the beach, actually, but it's 350 rooms. A very rich man, but the guy's annoying like you wouldn't believe. And I couldn't get, Daisy and I had no time for ourselves. Anyway, he lives in Cebu. This is why he lives in Cebu, because they have a lot of food restaurants. There's nothing else to do there, but there's a lot of food restaurants. So he lives in Cebu. Okay, so Chris takes this engine, and I pull the boat into the back and put the what we call the Mickey Mouse ears on the motor with the water flow of the water. I'm just reading. Morning, 222 Fox. Welcome to the machine. So I pull the boat around and I put the mufflers, the Mickey Mouse ears with the water discharge into the motor, and I go up to the front of the boat. It's like a 26-foot open center console, and Chris is in the back of the boat with the cover off with his stethoscope, and he gives me turn the motor on, and I turn it on, and I count to 3, and then I shut the motor off. So he went like this. He went, whip it up. I turned it on. He went, okay, cut it. So it was about 1 second the motor was on. He knew what it was right away, the knocking noise. So he tells me to call up the guy, because it was my service work, that I'm gonna pull this motor apart to replace this bearing. So that was my job. And I call him up and I tell him, you need to come in and talk to the boss. The boss knows what your problem is. So he trusts me because I'm from the lodge, and I told him, look, he figured it out in 1 second. So Chris says to the guy, we need to replace the top main bearing. And then he says, okay. And he asks Chris how much it was going to be, and I don't remember. I never got involved with the monies, but it's about $600. That's what they normally charge for a top main bearing. $100 for the bearing, and basically you just got to pull the flywheel and the cap off the top and the magneto, and you put the bearing in, and that's it. It's done. So he tells me, take the engine off the boat. And I said to him, why am I taking the engine off the boat? He goes, well, we have to do some other work on the motor. I'm going, oh boy, here we go. So, Chris, then this is why we call the church of Christians Plus. And then I'm going someplace. It's about confession. It's very important to be a Christian, and it's not as benefit. Catholics can go to heaven, but Christians are just about guaranteed a place in heaven every day. Depends if you're a prudent Christian. I mean, an aggressive Christian, and you pray a lot and you ask forgiveness, then you're almost guaranteed. We're Catholic. You could be problems getting to heaven. So Chris tells me take the motor off. So I work for Chris. So I put the hook on the engine, which is right where we were. And I unbolted from the back, and I bring it upstairs, and I put it on my bench. It's a 500+ pound engine. I put it on the stand that I would work on the engine to tear it down. And so I start popping the peripherals off, and Chris comes up and tells me to take the crank out. And I'm going, didn't you just say it was I heard you tell the man it's a top, but we're gonna check the crank. So I pull the engine apart, I tear it down, I put it on my bench, and he comes in with this old beat up crankshaft. It wasn't beat up, but it was rusty. It had rust on, not on the bearing surfaces, but on the counterweights. And then he goes over to my pistons section where I kept the pistons, and he goes to the Yamaha pistons, 240 horse Yamaha piston, 200, 220, 240. They were pretty much the same piston. And he starts taking pistons out of the box, and I'm going up. He's off. That guy, Chris, the Christian, he took that motor wasn't a year old. He took he's a good Christian now, very good Christian. He took that guy's crankcase. He took that guy's crank, his pistons, his rings, and his connecting rods, and he put them on my other table that I kept for whatever that tea. But I had an 8-foot wide bench and a 7-foot extension off of that bench, and he laid everything out one at a time. He laid them out. And he goes, okay, now find replacements for all of this. I said, nah, I'm not doing that. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm not going to do that. That guy's my friend, and you want to do this, you do it. I'm not going to do it. So he did it, and he had no problem. He knew exactly where everything was. He wasn't happy. I said, I'm just not going to be part of this. And I wasn't. So when it came time to put it back together, we cleaned up. There were rings that had rust on them, and we had to put them on a honing block. And it's a piece of glass with you put a lapping compound on the glass, and we lapped the tops of the pistons, and we lapped the rings because there was some oxidation on the rings, and we checked the crank, and the crank was okay, but it had some pot marks on it, but it wouldn't. We replaced the inside of that guy's engine, and Chris charged him $600, but he also collected about $4,000 worth of parts, the journal and the pistons. The ring sets were $90 for the piston and the ring, each piston. So that was $600 in parts, and the journal was $1,200. That was $1,800 in parts, and then the connecting rods were like $75 a piece. So It was $2,500 in parts Chris took out. Now I'm going someplace. Reason why we're going to do this church as the Church of Christians Plus is because when I asked Chris, isn't that like stealing? He said, yes. I says, aren't you afraid of going to hell? No. And I said, why not? He goes, because, and he pointed his finger at me. He says, unlike you Catholics, we Christians can do something and immediately pray for forgiveness from our God. And we're forgiven. But you Catholics, should you do something that's considered a sin, and you don't get to a confession before you die, well, you might go to hell. And he says, and that's the benefit of being a Christian over a Catholic. Now, you may think I'm lying about this, but I'm telling you the truth. Christians can ask for immediate forgiveness. So immediately, I guess he prayed all day, this guy, because he did this all day to everybody that came in. Well, that was the last job I ever did for him, because then when my friend came back, I told him what happened, and he's going, no. I said, yeah, that's what he did. And he said, are you serious? I said, tell him to take the engine apart. Better yet, come on over here. And I walked them over to where the parts were. They were all put in Cosmoline in a box. So I called Chris up on the upstairs, and he started talking to the guy. And Chris said, you should go way downstairs. I see, I think I'll do that. So I just basically, whatever tools I had, I took with me. I used all of his tools for that shop, and I just put them in my car. And when he came down, he fired me for that. But basically, he stole $2,500 worth of parts from my friend, and I told him I'm not going to have any part of it. I don't know what he didn't understand when I said I wouldn't take the parts, replace the parts. I don't know what part of I don't want any part of this. I mean, I broke it down, but I'm not going to go get the replacement parts. I mean, I would break it down to as much as I was going to. Basically, I did other stuff, and Chris did a lot of work there, but I knew what I was going to do. And when it was all done and said and done, we had the motor pretty much back together, and the man came in, and he wanted Chris to take it apart. I don't know where it went from there. I got fired for that, and that guy got mad at me, never talked to me again, for not telling him right away. Well, we're only talking about 3 hours. So it wasn't that I didn't try to get in touch with him. He just wasn't around. Back then, this was in we're talking 1995 in the Florida Keys. There were I didn't have a cell phone, and most people didn't even have a cell phone then. So I couldn't get in touch with them. The only way I had to get in touch with them was to call the lodge and then to ask somebody, the secretary at the lodge, to call him. I didn't have his phone number. Chris had it. I mean, he was my friend, but not on a personal level. So Christians go to heaven as long as you commit a sin, and it doesn't matter what the sin is. I mean, but I should also tell you that Chris was friends with that man also, probably 30 years friendship. So if you're a Christian and you commit a sin and you pray for forgiveness, you're going to come to the understanding when you're done praying, if you pray proper. Only you know what proper is, that God forgave you. That's why I'm going to make a Christian church and not a Catholic church. But Catholics are welcome, and whether or not you remain a Catholic or a Protestant or a Methodist, or you believe in the Church of Mormon, the Mormon church, and that guy Joe finding those gold things in the desert, that's okay. Okay, Canoy in the Philippines, welcome. Okay, Canoy is leaving. Okay, so I could tell you the name of the church that Chris is part of and still part of, too. Actually, I saw Chris back in April. So he's still going to church, still doing his thing. An amazing man, Chris. So, John, take care. Okay, good live stream. Chevy Boy 711 says, sounds like that guy had a misunderstanding of. He had no misunderstanding of Christianity. The church that he went to, it looked more like it was an amazing thing. The church. I went to church on Sunday with him one day. Once I went to church. I'll never do it again. They not only do they want you to go to a little school before you go to church, but they prep you up for the giving part, which is good. It's always better to give than to receive. And then they want you to stay after the meeting. Everybody brings food. And then they talk about fellowship. And then when they talk about fellowship, that's when it goes into lunch, where, food time. And then you have fellowship until 1:30, 2 o'clock. And then they talk about getting together at different people's houses. So I had a big house on the water, but I didn't own that house in 1995. That was where I lived. And I wouldn't bring them back there. My landlord was absolutely adamant. She did not practice any kind of religion, and she didn't want talk of religion in her house. She was pretty much a good person, and her husband was an excellent, very, upstanding member of the community, but no church, no religion, no political, no religious affiliations in that house. Not from her father. She grew up on a pig farm somewhere in the Midwest. They didn't talk about religion. So that was the end of that. So anyway, that's my experience. The church, our church, my flock will be known as the Church of Christians Plus. I'm Father Fun. Big E will be the Reverend for the underworld. The underworld is going to be an old water tank that was dug out about 20 years ago. And we're going to finish it off, put some lighting and aircon in there, and then put a cap on it. And then that'll be the floor to the church above. And that'll be the church of the underworld and be run by Reverend Big E in Cebu and Chie. Chie will also be a major part of the church. She will do shout outs. So there's also going to be membership fees. Of course, it's church, right? There got to be fees. And we'll figure out what that is. It's basically, the membership fees are relatively simple. It's bound. So it depends on how much you weigh. If, let's say, you weigh 100 kilos. Let me get to my chart. I don't want to misquote because I want to try to keep this accurate. Let me get to the chart. The church is going to be the membership fees are by the pound. So let me digress. Father Big E is in full control of the underworld bunkers for private gatherings. All proceeds go to the Chie Corsairs Children's Charity. All right, so all proceeds go to Chie Corsairs Children's Charities. Okay? From the Underworld Prayer Hall. So anything that, any monies that are collected in the Underworld Prayer Hall go to the Chie Corsairs Children's Charity. But you can also go to Chie Corsairs homepage or YouTube page and donate via Super Chat. All donations are welcome, and remember our motto: it is better to give than receive. So the Underworld Prayer Hall also doubles as a nuclear shelter in case of an attack. Singles are welcome. For a small donation, local foods will be available. Friday night, we'll have a singles gathering to mingle amongst other singles with common goals or hobbies. Pretty much the Friday night singles mingles will be presided over by Pastor Big E from Cebu. He seems to be in touch with the Philippines people. Now, one of the ways, besides Super Chat, that we will collect money for the church is what we're going to do is, well, you know what we're going to do. We're not going to have a cross in the church. There won't be any crosses. There won't be much of nothing religious per se, because thou shalt not worship false gods. Okay, so we're not going to have a cross, but we will have a pot. Okay, and this will be the pot that we will bang in order to collect the lot. So this pot, when banged during the ceremony of the church, in the beginning, in the middle, someplace between in the middle, and someplace between the middle and the end, and at the end, each time the bell or the pot is banged. So when we bang a pot, we expect to collect a lot. Okay, so just want you to be aware, when you hear the sound of the pot, like a Pavlov's reactionary dog, you reach into your pocket and throw money into the pot immediately after the pot is banged. So when you bang a pot, when I bang a pot, you give a lot. Okay, so bang a pot, give a lot. Bang a pot, give a lot. And remember, it is better to give than to receive. Okay, so now we got that little issue out of the way. But of course, the big item, the big ticket item here is we need 100,000 US to build the building and to finish the underworld prayer bunker hall. What else do we have? We have rules. Okay, so we have rules. The entry fee for locals is only a one-time fee of 200 pesos and 500 pesos for others. So each day that you come, so if you come on a Wednesday, there'll be a 200 peso fee for the local and 500 pesos for the foreigners. If you come again on Friday, because there's 3 services a week, it's, again, you pay only one-time fee of 200 pesos plus or 500 for the foreigners. So if you go 3 times in 1 week, the one-time only fee is 3 times 200 or 3 times 500. But it's just one fee each day. So we are into the Church of Christians Plus territory, and everything has to do with numbers. And remember, it is better to give than to receive. So there is another rule on the Friday night singles gathering, which was specifically run by Big E. Minimum age is 21. Proper attire, please. So proper attire can be something that could be argued, but we would prefer that you had normal church clothes like you would go to church on any Sunday. We appreciate that. Now, what you wear under the clothes, if anything, is none of our business, but please dress properly. So remember, when you hear the pot, you donate a lot. So I don't want to bang the pot because I don't want any donations today. I'm having trouble with a couple of things, and I can't take any more money into even though the flock, I'm not ready to start. I don't have an actual flock yet, but anybody that wants to sign up, let me know. One way to get into the flock of the Church of the Christians Plus is to become a member of Patreon at the $20 or above, and then you'll receive all up notices and updates for our meetings. Now, they're going to be meetings outside the church, and before the building is built, they'll be held outside the church and before the building is built. And there'll also be pot banging to collect, bang a pot, collect a lot. And remember, it is better for you to give than to receive. Everyone knows this. So I have a question. When I say it is better for you than to receive, everyone knows this. So everyone knows this, and the hands go up like this. Who can tell me what movie made that line famous and what actor said it? It's a little quiz. I like that line. Everyone knows this. So who can tell me what movie that line came from and what was the name of the actor that said it? One of my favorite movies. Let's go back here. Internet good one. Yeah, baby. So Chevy Boy 7 sounds like that guy. Yeah, he had a misunderstanding. If there, I think he knows that he has a misunderstanding. That guy was an amazing. I'm telling you, those guys, they prayed till the food was cold. Got a Texan. This dude is more hot than Alex Jones. William Jenkins, go Mike. Cherry Boy, LOL. William Jenkins. So the pot is a nuclear war. No, the pot is not a nuclear war. No, the pot, when we bang the pot, we collect super chat or money for the church. Whenever you bang a pot, it is your if I bang the pot, it's your obligation to give a lot. When you bang a pot, we are collecting a lot because remember our motto: it's better for you to give than to receive. So if I bang a pot, I collect a lot, but no pot banging today. No pot, because I started to say I'm having trouble doing my taxes. One, because it's online, but the second reason is I keep forgetting to put the zeros on the numbers because the zeros don't really what is the amount of a zero? Nothing, right? So why put them on your income? I don't understand why that is. If the zero doesn't have any worth, why would you put it on the income part of the thing? And it doesn't accept it. Yes, Richard, I'm starting a church. It's called the Church of Christians Plus. And our motto is it's better for you to give and us to receive. Yeah, William Jenkins, that's true. I should tell you, William Jenkins, I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm not going to post the link I did before because the link I posted before probably got my live stream shut down. So let me find that video. I'm going to tell you a story about I'm going to show it to you in pictures. Hopefully, I don't even want to say the words because, to be honest, I'm pretty sure that's why my last live stream got shut down. I didn't say anything wrong, but they have these new rules about what you can talk about on YouTube and what you cannot talk about on YouTube. And right now, YouTube bringing me over to the next page. I am still waiting. I don't know that the page will ever turn. Not happening. Amazing thing. All right. No, I'm not going to be able to get that video up. It just won't even open up that page. I'll go back to my live stream. Dennis Adams says, hello, Michael. Welcome to the machine, Dennis Adams. I have no idea who said that. Now, Dennis Adams is a fact. He has the ability to search the internet and get information. He's like a fact checker. I'm not a religious man. That is why I was banished from my Amish community when I was 20 years old. William Jenkins. So I just told you my channel got shut down because I put a link. I showed the video and posted a link on my last live stream. So you're asking me to post another link? I didn't say that I posted the link, but if I post the link, the live stream will get shut down. I was going to show it to you in pictures, but of course we know what your altruistic needs are. All right, so William Jenkins said, I don't know, I can't. What did William? Why would I post the link if I just said I'm not going to post the link? I don't understand. I don't understand that. Okay, thank you. There's so many people here I don't know. What do we have? Today's Troll Sunday. Big E is here. Big E, we are being trolled. What I need to do is, first of all, is get you a wrench. Sin Simo. Okay, so Sin Simo, you know who? No, I didn't say you were a troll, but we had 3 other trolls here that I just removed. I didn't say William Jenkins was a troll. And I never said anything that contradicted what you said. I just said when I posted the link before, it shut my channel down almost immediately after that. And I don't know if it was something I said or a link I posted or we just had bad internet. But being that I haven't talked about certain things, the internet seems to be working. So I wanted to show you the page so that you could go to the page. But this is what happens. I'm going to show you what happens when I go to the page. Watch. The page is blank and it just won't load. Now, even if I say the man's name, well, I can give you his first name. His first name is Eric, and he believes in that the earth is like that, Eric. So it's a really cool video, and it's basically about it's about being cold. All right, I don't want to do talk in code. Darwin and Sobs Travel, how's it going? Welcome to the machine. We have Big E here. We have the Big E. So let's get the Big E. Let me hold on just one moment. I want to make sure who I'm giving a wrench to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another page and go to channel and make sure that this Big E is the Big E, because the last thing we need is an errant wrench. Errant. I bet you somebody's going to have to look that up. Okay, so one thing I told people in the beginning that Google, no matter what you do, it seems that Google is allowing a woodchuck in the wood pile. And I don't know why, because it's terrible here. It's just absolute garbage. I mean, my page has been loading for 30 seconds. If it even loads. If it even